Hi everyone, Digga here, and today I'm taking a look at the Devil Shark Lord's Luminous Edition by Momoco Studio and Merry-Go-Round. I've been keeping an eye on all these really cool Mecha Shark figures that these companies have been making, and as soon as I saw that they were doing a jet black hammerhead with glow-in-the-dark stuff, I knew I had to get it. I mean, look at it, it's got chainsaw claws. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's get started. Can you dig it? When you first look at the box, you're immediately greeted with this really cool hangar bay that has this really nice sort of navy blue coloring with the black and yellow stripes, all the different sort of metallic mechanic detailing. Inside, this is a nice little window bubble, and you can see the Devil Shark Lord very proudly standing still inside there, ready to be unleashed into the world. Maybe it's being transported somewhere or captured for study. Whatever the lore is, it looks really cool. This is some really fantastic packaging. We'll get to the inside in a little bit, but a few little details on the front. You'll see to the right, there is a sort of caution arrow pointing to some text that's not really legible. Then on the bottom, you have MECHA SHARK and the little choking hazard. Obviously, this is not for children under 3. Be careful who you give your fancy art toys to because you don't want to break them and you don't want to hurt anybody. On the side of the box, you'll see a giant 01 War Mech hangar test type door with a big old pull down lever to open. Caution, be very careful. Are you sure you want to unleash this behemoth into the world? So if it's a test type, does that mean that the Devil Shark Lords aren't bad? Why am I thinking so much about the lore for this? That might just be the big Pacific Rim fan in me, honestly. On the other side, it's the exact same thing, except there is a 02 instead of a 01. And it also does have the little caution arrow from the front of the box as well. On the back, you have a giant, really cool blueprint of the Devil Shark Lords. You'll see that there's all sorts of detailing. On the left is one of the regular Shark Lords, and I guess the right side is specifically the Devil Shark Lords, which you can tell by the fact that one's a hammerhead and one's a great white shark. The one on the left has a plasma cannon in its mouth, triple missiles, DC recharge, all those really fun little details that they sneak into schematics. I almost bought one of those. Very tempting. But what we have here is the Devil Shark Lords on the right, which has triple missiles in its mouth, devil rings, reminiscent of stingrays, and what they call the clap cutter, and the double chainsaw. Oh, it's so good. There's also a bunch of numbers on the sides that probably don't correspond to anything. Some gauges, Project Mecha Shark, of course. Very cool. Interestingly enough, the box doesn't seem to actually say Devil Shark Lords anywhere. It's one of those situations with art toys where you kind of don't know if the figure's name is correct because different sites call it different things. But that's what Strange Cat Toys called it, along with some other sites, so that's what I'm going with. And it really sounds cool. I mean, like, Devil Shark Lords? Ooh. Anyway, there's a couple paragraphs down here talking about Merry-Go-Round and Momoco Studio history. Basically, they've been around since 2017, collaborating with famous illustrators and toy creative units, as they call it, to bring original character vinyl toys to collectors. And they had an exhibition tour called We Love So We Made, where they went to a bunch of different places to just show off toys and how cool they are. And again, super down my alley. I love that. And then on the right, you have the company logos. There's the little Sharky for Momoco Studio. And then there's a merry-go-round for, you guessed it, merry-go-round, with their Facebook links and QR codes, all that good stuff. I also really like how there's all these sort of scratches and signs of wear and tear on the walls. Maybe some experimentation was happening and there's some scratches over here. Or maybe it's just breaking down over time, but either way, I love that they've given it that sort of worn feeling, like it's an actual hangar that has been around for who knows how long as they create all these machinations. On the bottom of the box, it might not seem super interesting, but we do have a shutter here, which implies that the levers on the side would open this up, and they could potentially either lower down the Devil Shark Lord or just straight up drop it somewhere. It's a lot of lore for a random vinyl figure, but it's really fun kind of creating your own story sometimes. I don't know if that's just me because I really like my figures, but I have fun doing it. The top of the box also has a sort of open bubble view of the Devil Shark Lords inside. You can kind of see its big cranium sticking out here if it's a hammerheady goodness. Almost kind of looks like an alien from this angle, to be honest. You can also see some of the vents and stuff. Man, this is so cool. I love this packaging. It's so great. I could gush about it forever, but we have to open the figure. I was actually going to open it from the top, but since I saw the shutter on the bottom, I think we should give that a shot. Moving the figure aside for a second to look at the backdrop really quick. It's pretty similar to the rest of the hangar bay. You just have this giant 01 Warmech hangar test type once again, with all these different numbered ones. And then the actual bottom floor is this really cool pattern. It does look like it opens. There's so many things you can do with this. But there's red lines and gradients and cautions and warnings. Also, there's little pointers here, I guess. All that sort of cool stuff you'd expect to find in a giant mech hangar. Ooh. Behind the bubble is a baggie containing the devil wings, which we will be taking a closer look at first. Just as a little preview, you'll see that there's this really nice glossy black. That's going to be the whole coloring for the Double Shark Lord. And then there's the more subtle, sort of milky fading color that is actually going to be the glow in the dark, which we'll, of course, check out, obviously. The design of this is so cute. It's almost like the Batwing, but you can tell that it's got the manta ray or stingray qualities to it. It's got these blasters here. Very cute. The cockpit, of course, the thrusters. And on the sides, it actually has like little eyes, which I think is super cute. On the bottom, you'll see that there is the port here that will go into the back, assumedly. I haven't looked at the back yet, but we'll find out together. Man, the fading, the colors, it's so good. I love this. There's also, the sort of usual detailings here of the dots and the lines for manufacturing. And then a couple other little marks around the sides here. It's just a completely really cool little backpack. I love it. And it could detach and just become a giant manta ray that flies towards you. Time to free the beast. Here we have Devil Shark Lord's Luminous version out of the packaging. My gosh, what a freaking cool figure. Look at this dude. Just a massive mechanical marvel of a shark, hammerhead no less, with all sorts of weaponry. Oh my gosh, it's so cool. Where do we even start? I guess the head, of course. It is a hammerhead after all. It has a very nice shape. And you'll notice that the eyes are actually missiles, which is a super cool detail. I didn't actually put that together in my brain until just now. But it does have a lot of weaponry. As you can see, there are what appears to be cannons for the nostrils, along with the eyes being missiles, of course. It has a really nice sort of lime green eye coloring, while also having, as you saw earlier, these mouth cannons ready to fire at any time. All three of them in a row. It's got some little spiky protrusions on the side, very stylish. Going down, there is, of course, the crescent moon. Oh, does this move? Oh, this moves. Okay. All right, sweet. I'll take it. There's like a crescent claw here. What did they call it again? As I look at the box really quick. Oh, yeah, the clap cutter. That's what this was. So it's got sort of a crescent moon shape with a, I want to say this is where the laser would shoot out. And then off to the side here, we do have the double chainsaw. This is really sweet. I love that you can move these too. Oh, that's actually pretty sharp. Youch. But as the name implies, it is a double chainsaw. There's two of them. Basically, this kind of looks like a Pong flipper. I don't know if that's also supposed to shoot out or if it just holds them in place. But that's a very dangerous combination. I would not want to mess with this guy in the slightest. There's also some leg spikes, and I think that's mostly it for the weaponry. Let's go over the paint job. As we talked about earlier on the Devil Wings, Luminous Shark has a very nice sort of a matte finish, kind of glossy at some points. There's different layers to it. There's the sort of gloss up on the head, kind of, yeah, which goes into the body. But then when you get down to the middle parts, there appears to be a sort of matte black layer that continues on for the more mechanical parts, down to the tail, down to the feet, which I believe the feet down here also are a little bit of a glossy black too. So it's kind of a mix of the glossy black and the gunmetal. It really plays nicely. And of course, as we also mentioned, there is the off-gray colors everywhere for the glow-in-the-dark feature. Sometimes with toys that glow in the dark, it doesn't really quite look that great when it's not glowing because of the off coloring, but I would say it works pretty well for the Devil Shark Lords here. It might be slightly different on camera, but that might just be my backdrop, but I think it looks really good. And you'll notice that there's actually two different types of glow in the dark colors. There's the sort of brighter upper area here, whereas down below, even in the middle of the sort of beltish area, going down to the legs that have the spikes protruding, and then down to the claws, or I guess the toes, rather. It's a sort of a darker gray. I'm not quite sure how luminous it's going to be, because after having this under my lamp for a bit, it is glowing pretty nicely, but we're going to have to do a full test after dousing it with light, not just a simple pass. And I think the darker gray also kind of goes toward the tail, which does have, I don't know if it's intentional. It's kind of like the outer coloring is the darker cream, whereas the inside is more kind of translucent. This is, I know it's a lot to take in, but we'll go over the sculpting in a second. I'm just in awe of the different layers of shading and coloring. You know, for just like a basic figure that's just basically black and white, it looks great. And having there be a gloss and a matte finish, just, it's so good. The separation is fantastic. So let's go ahead and move to the front of this guy for a sec. We talked about the missile eyes and the weaponry. Let's take a better look at everything else. You'll see at the top you have, of course, the hammerhead shape we've mentioned, along with a fin and some connectors, kind of showing that this it gets its power from maybe the back area. Does the head move? I don't think the head moves. It's a very solid sofubi, but I can double check that later. Oh, I really like the way they did the jaws. You know, we did cover the open cannons, but those teeth, look at how it just like looks like it naturally closes and opens. I like that a lot. And then going down to the arms right here, there seems to be a sort of really cool little symbol. It almost looks like the new driver symbol in Japan. I'm not sure if that's what it's supposed to encapsulate. It might just be like the fictional faction that this is from. But the arm itself does have the continuous sort of bendy wiring, if you will, for lack of better terminology, which feeds into its fin and the rotation of that really cool weapon. Have to check the box again. The clap cutter. It does have the same sculpting on the right side. It has the same symbol. It has the same fins, just the different weapon on the side. And then taking a better look at the chest, there is, as I mentioned, a sort of a big belt, which has its own little neat design with some more mechanical parts with, all the little divots and rivets, however you describe it. Then there's a little downward part here. That might actually be another laser, but I don't know. And then that continues down to the legs, which have more bending, but also these sort of fortified pieces that go into the spike ankle, which have the little spikes on the back for fins that go down into the feet, which do maybe they're missiles too, like toe missiles. Did I mention how much I love this yet? Anyway, let's keep going. It's the same on the other side. Look, you got your stompers. You can go charging into battle. I don't actually know how fast this would go, but, let's not worry about that. Let's focus instead on the tail and the back side of it, of course. You'll see that it does have the plug right here, which is exactly where the devil wings will go. A better shot of the backward side of the neck with the fin. And then down on the tail, it's actually a little bit more sparkly. I don't know how many different layers of shading are going on here, but sometimes there's like little speckles in the coloring to differentiate it. The tail it's kind of like a standard kaiju tail. It's got the spikes. It goes into the not so standard crescent moon. Very spiky. I think that's pretty much it. I think it's time to put on the devil wings. Let's do it. Here are the devil wings. Funny thing, it did a very quick pass under my lamp, and it just immediately started glowing. And this is going to be really great. So you see the plug here, of course. You see the plug on the back of the devil wings. We're going to go ahead and smoosh that together for a very, very satisfying vinyl connecting sound. And then we do technically have the complete Devil Shark Lord with the devil wings. And I think it works really nicely. It adds a very nice silhouette. It's very imposing, and it's really fun. I always love when they have mechs that can detach things into different ships. So I guess more lore for this character is that there could be multiple people piloting this, if it's even piloted by people. It is called a mecha, so technically you could have someone else, or maybe even if you need to escape, go over here somehow through the connection. Maybe it's like a big, it's like one of those airport runways. Not runways, the connector corridors, that's right. So whatever happens, if the Devil Shark Lord's going to explode, or if you just need to go fight something else, you can just pop it off. And then the Devil Wings are their own separate ship that can just fly away and shoot at stuff. Really freaking cool. My favorite part is that I immediately detached the thing that I just reattached. Oh, the tail can come off. Okay. Yeah. That's the don't worry, everything's fine. Sometimes you don't, the unexpected occurs, but it's okay. As a Sofubi, certain parts can be detached, mostly, you know, in case somebody applies a specific amount of force in a weird way, and it's generally pretty giving. I'm not really sure if anything else detaches, but I don't think I want to try my luck. Okay, time to stop gushing. I'm gonna douse this thing in light, and we're gonna see how well it glows. Oh my gosh. The lights are off, and Devil Shark Lord's Luminous version is living up to its name. This is so freaking cool. Look at how bright the double chainsaw is glowing. Look at everything in play. Wow. I love glow-in-the-dark toys, and this works so well. It might be slightly dimmer on the camera, but I promise it is in full glow right now. It looks so freaking good. I mean, like, wow, it's luminous, all right. I'll give it that. It just comes across really well. Even the back, you'll see, it is starting to fade a little bit, but I promise, it looks really good. Here, I'll give it a quick burst. You'll see that the Devil Wings are indeed glowing very nicely. It seems like some parts, according to how much glow-in-the-dark paint was put on, do stay lit longer. But it just, wow. Wow. Glow-in-the-dark Mecha Shark. Oh my gosh, I cannot stop gushing. I said I was going to stop gushing, but now I'm not going to. Okay, I'm going to this time for reals. I'm going to turn the lights back on, and we'll move on to some quick figure comparisons. Here's Devil Shark Lords with the Bok Bok Rangers. Naturally, I wanted to have a giant mecha kaiju fight off against some heroes, and what better choice than a bunch of super cute little bears to take them on. So I'm thinking maybe they might need their own mech to stand a chance. This might get dangerous. Go, Bok Bok Rangers. As usual, I got to bring out my shark collection. So here's Devil Shark Lords with a couple of random ones. I didn't want to bring them all out today. We have a Marvel Legends Jeff the Land Shark. We have one of the Dino Bros Marine Riders. And then we have a little Reese the Shark prize figure from the Fate series. Must resist bringing out more shark figures. Focusing on the mech side of things, we have the Regency Purple Mecha Chameleon and Sega Blue Mr. Bone. So many powerful, fun, unique designs in one place. This is why I love toys. And just for good measure, we have to have a kaiju fight. So here it is next to the Gigantamax Pikachu figure from the trading card game VMAX box. Talk about a true clash of the titans. My gosh. I think we might be in trouble no matter who wins, to be honest. And that was the Devil Shark Lord's Luminous version by Momoco Studio and Merry-Go-Round. This thing is so freaking cool. I can't get over how amazing this Mecha Shark is. I love the sculpt. I love the different coloring. I love the design. It's so much fun, and it just works so well in any situation you put it in. And the glow in the dark is sublime. It's not dull at all. It just works, and it works spectacularly. And I love the little devil wings, the little ship that can come off. It's just everything I could have ever wanted. It did not disappoint in the slightest. I am so glad I got this. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to have Devil Shark Lords fight a bunch of my figures in a full-on kaiju mech face-off. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.